you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick note before I get to my questions. Fentanyl seizures are down 30% compared to last year, and that data is coming from the Customs and Border Patrol, CBP. I don't make it up, but fentanyl seizures are down. At your confirmation hearing, you asserted that you will do everything in your power to prevent illegal gun runners in our country. Your budget request for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, proposes a cut of 26% below the current level. How can you justify such a massive cut without inevitably weakening ATF's ability to help our state and local law enforcement fight illegal gun trafficking? How many ATF law enforcement officers and industry operations investigators do you anticipate will be lost to attrition as a result of this funding reduction you're proposing?
So, I am a career prosecutor, and I believe in keeping America safe, making America safe. First, what we're doing is ATF is going to be brought over with DEA. Everyone knows, everyone sitting up here, guns and drugs go together. They go together. We're going to make it more efficient. What I will tell you will not be happening is ATF agents will not be knocking on the doors of legal gun owners in the middle of the night asking them about their guns. They're going to be out on the streets. If I can finish, they're going to be out on the streets.
I have three
No,
minutes.
you asked me a question.
I did, and
you asked me a question,
and you haven't
I'm gonna
answered my
it.
question.
So they're going to be out on the streets working
You haven't
hand in hand
answered my
with
question.
DEA
You
to
haven't
violate.
answered. Mr. Chairman, I'd like an answer to my question. And
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm American Interest, your go-to political analyst, breaking down the noise so you can make sense of what's happening behind the headlines. No yelling, no spin, just facts, context, and a reasoned perspective. Today, we're diving into a fiery exchange from a recent congressional hearing regarding the Biden administration's proposed budget cuts to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or ATF, as well as other major federal law enforcement programs like the DEA and HIDTA. This video featured sharp questioning, a lot of interruptions, and ultimately a pretty concerning fiscal and policy outlook on both sides.
And the question is not being answered. How many ATF law enforcement officers and industry operations investigators do you anticipate will be lost to attrition as a result of the funding reduction you are proposing? You are proposing a 26% cut to ATF for fiscal year 2026, as well as a 4.4% cut to DEA. So you're going to merge the two agencies together, and then you're going to shortchange their resources, so neither one of them will be able to do the job that they have been designed to do. You've got a 34% cut to the high-intensity drug trafficking areas program, no dedicated money at all for the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force. So, my view, it's fair to say that the Trump administration proposal shortchanges federal efforts to stop illegal gun trafficking and federal efforts to stop the flow of dangerous illegal drugs like fentanyl.
As I was attempting to answer your question very calmly, unlike you,
Excuse me, Madam Attorney General. Answer yes or no. Tell me what the numbers are. I don't want to hear all of your filibuster about this. Go ahead, please. Tell us the numbers.
So we are reorganizing. ATF agents want to be out on the street.
Okay,
working
let me answer the
DEA
question for you.
agents.
I'm going to answer it for you. Page. Mr. Chairman, you give me a certain amount of time, and I have a high respect for you, but I don't have to listen, nor do my colleagues have to listen to a filibuster when it's a simple question. But I have an answer to your question. It's page 146 of the department's fiscal year 2026 budget, and the performance summary explicitly says, and let me quote, ATF will eliminate 541 industry operation investigators, reducing ATF's capacity to regulate the firearms and explosive industries by approximately 40% in fiscal year 2026. ATF will perform fewer regulatory inspections. And the department summary goes on to say, and let me quote, ATF anticipates a reduction of approximately 284 support personnel and 186 agents based on historical attrition patterns, and these personnel cuts will impact ATF across various functions, unquote. If the capacity to regulate firearms industry is reduced by 40%, if you are losing 186 ATF law enforcement agents on top of that, it is clear the direction you are headed with this budget, and that's what it is, isn't it? The proposal will weaken our ability to stop gun trafficking, and it will greatly reduce ATF support for state and local law enforcement that helps them prevent and solve violent crimes. It's a bad proposal.
Do you want to hear my answer in 3 seconds? You mentioned regulatory functions. We will not be having ATF agents go to the doors of gun owners in the middle of the night asking them about their guns, period. They will be out on the streets with DEA, guns and drugs.
How many
go
are
together.
gone?
It will be attrition. We are not firing agents. They will be working.
How many
with
have
DEA.
taken attrition?
Can I tell you that they all want to be on the streets? They want to be doing their jobs. They want to be
But you're getting them
seizing
off
guns.
the streets.
They want
You're getting
to.
them
We're
off the
putting
streets.
them on the
And-
streets.
and
They want to be working with
you,
DEA.
you are getting them off
We
the
will be
streets. There is no
efficient.
clear, and Mr.
We will
Chairman,
be
I yield back my
efficient.
time. I yield back my time. Let's get some answers here.
Let's unpack the key moments, the political tension, and what the numbers actually mean for gun enforcement and drug trafficking efforts in the United States. The video starts with a committee member pointing out that fentanyl seizures are down 30% year over year, according to Customs and Border Protection. Now, this is an important data point, but it's also one that deserves scrutiny. Is the drop due to improved interdiction at the border? Or does it reflect fewer shipments, changes in trafficking routes, or simply underreporting? We don't get an answer to that here, and unfortunately, that's typical of these kinds of hearings. The stat is thrown out as a rhetorical device, not a fully explained trend. The core of the debate centers around a proposed 26% cut to the ATF's budget for fiscal year 2026. That's not a small trim, it's a significant reduction in funding, and it's paired with a 4.4% cut to the DEA. Naturally, the question is, how does a law enforcement agency operate effectively with a quarter of its resources gone? That's what one member pressed the DOJ representative on repeatedly, but didn't get a clear answer until later in the hearing. Instead, the official attempted to pivot to the idea of reorganizing ATF with the DA. This might sound good in theory, consolidation for efficiency, but in practice, merging agencies while cutting their budgets tends to result in lost oversight, reduce effectiveness, and logistical chaos. Eventually, one of the committee members referenced page 146 of the DOJ's fiscal year 2026 performance summary, and the numbers are telling. 541 industry operations investigators cut a 40% reduction in the ATF's regulatory inspection capacity. 284 support staff and 186 law enforcement agents lost due to attrition. To be clear, these are not layoffs. They are expected reductions based on people retiring or leaving, with no plan to replace them. Still, the result is the same. Fewer boots on the ground, fewer inspections, and fewer investigations. The DOJ official tried to argue that since guns and drugs go together, merging ATF operations with DEAs would be more efficient. On paper, there's a certain logic here. Guns are often involved in narcotics trafficking, and a joint force might better coordinate operations. But let's be realistic. Efficiency doesn't come from slashing budgets. It comes from smart planning, investment in training, and proper oversight. Simply putting two underfunded agencies together doesn't magically create synergy, it creates gaps. State and local police departments often rely on ATF and DEA support to conduct large-scale operations, especially when tackling organized crime, interstate trafficking, and high-risk raids. With the proposed cuts, that federal backup would be significantly reduced. This weakens interagency cooperation, especially in smaller jurisdictions without the resources to take on complex investigations alone. The proposal also includes a 34% reduction in funding for the high-intensity drug trafficking areas HIDTA program and zero dedicated funding for the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Forces, OCDETF. Both programs are considered cornerstones in targeting major criminal enterprises and transnational drug trafficking. Cutting them undercuts years of bipartisan policy consensus. One of the more frustrating parts of this hearing was the back and forth between lawmakers and the DOJ official. Interruptions, non-answers, raised voices that all highlighted a growing problem in these hearings. They're often more about political posturing than productive oversight. Yes, the DOJ should be held accountable. But grandstanding doesn't help constituents understand what's really at stake, and neither does dodging direct questions. So, is this a bad proposal, as one lawmaker put it? From a neutral policy standpoint, I'd say it's deeply flawed. If your stated mission is to combat illegal gun trafficking and the opioid epidemic, your budget should reflect that. Instead, this proposal reduces frontline enforcement capacity, cuts key federal-state partnerships, and offers little in the way of modernizing or enhancing interagency collaboration. Efficiency is good, but undercutting capacity isn't efficiency, it's erosion. Here's what a more constructive proposal might look like. Reallocate funds toward tech-enabled enforcement, like tracing networks and data analytics. Maintain staffing levels while optimizing where those staff are deployed. Strengthen, not cut, state-federal coordination through HIDTA and OCDETF. Increase transparency in how consolidation of ATF and DEA would actually work in practice. At the end of the day, what we saw in this hearing was a clash between political priorities and law enforcement realities. The numbers don't lie. Hundreds of positions are on the chopping block, and key programs are being drained of resources. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, pro-regulation or pro-Second Amendment, we should all be concerned when public safety becomes a casualty of budget politics. So what do you think? Is this budget cut a bold move towards streamlining enforcement or a dangerous gamble with public safety? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, keep it respectful, keep it thoughtful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.